Hello everyone, and welcome to my new build for season, exclusive Crackling Energy DPS. The build has full focus Crackling DPS, with better rolls can reach 400% Crackling damage. This is calculated without the legendary node Ceaseless Conduit. That doubles the Crackling damage as that node it is multiplicative. Also 300% lightning damage, and yes it does affect additive the Crackling damage output. Combined with using Pick and a Heart, the build really blast in group fights. The skill chain Lightning has only 1 point in it and does close to no damage. His only purpose is to generate Crackling. Also no investment in mana, except mana gain on Crackling, so we can constantly reuse chain for Crackling generation. I have finished multiple tier 100 with it, that we'll see in video, but the build really shines in speed farming 70s. The speed farming runs are at end of video. The build has 200% movement speed, and permanent stuns with the combo Oculus plus Raiment. With high investment in crowd control duration, we get pulls and 5-second stuns on every teleport use. The defenses are not that high like in my previous tier 100 builds, as the most important defenses indirectly are the stuns and freeze, followed by high burst damage in groups. The build has amazing group damage, but single target damage is not that great, and in tier 100 the boss fights take around 1 minute. In speed farming tier 70 all maps take under 5 minutes, and one important note is suppressors are no problem, they are easy to deal with even in tier 100, because of Raiment pulls and Crackling energy is not affected by them. Isu unique boots will raise a lot critical chance as we have capped 200% movement speed during fight. Even though there are some rumors that some movement speed buffs do not count for Isu, in my testing it show contrary. The game is bugged in some way that you get even more extra crit chance sometimes, it just don't show properly in stat page in that short duration of movement speed buffs, but only in the bottom bar of Isu buff. Please ignore my affix ball lightning, again had to improvise, as this being my 7th tier 100 build this season. On pants you can get Crackling damage affix instead. On gloves ignore the all stats affix, you want intelligence or lucky hit chance affix. The Paragon does not need extra stats in this version. And yes, lightning critical damage affects Crackling. Keep in mind Crackling is not a lightning skill for any other tooltip in game, because it does not count as a skill, but it does lightning damage. If you find it troubling to handle tier 100 with Raiment, swap it for a legendary defensive chest with aspect Shared Misery that will spread all lightning spear and lucky hit stuns. For speed farming tier 80s and Bellow is really no need, Raiment is great for pulls and Oculus perma stuns. While you might find it not a big value, the ever-living damage reduction on our only crowd controls, stuns and freeze, as they can't fight back. Think about all area damage, some monsters still do during stuns. Plus our vulnerable apply is quite often with ice blades. With better hearts and higher power Raiment, the total armor will reach 6,000 and maximum life 12,000. For tier 100 use Iron Skin Elixir, for speed farming 80s and below no Elixir, or if want use one, then Precision Elixir. Malignant hearts I use Tal Rosha, Pikana and Barber. As you will see at end of video the tier 70 plus run speed farming, build really shines there. If want check more defensive builds for comfortable do tier 100 you can check my previous videos for tier 100 pure chain lightning build, Oculus chain conjuration, ball lightning, charged bolts or lightning spear. If want more defense, swap Pikana for revenge heart extra damage reduction. As I really enjoyed the build in speed farming, I felt no need for extra survivability. In tier 70s I did not use not even the shimmering teleport passive for damage reduction, but the other teleport passive mystical teleport, to get extra Crackling hits. The whole map is stunned or freeze, so as long you set defenses to handle 1 to 2 hits, is not really dangerous. Though in tier 100 is mandatory use damage reduction passive on teleport. After gear showcase, we'll show my total stats page to make an roughly idea. Followed by skill tree, Paragon and gameplay speed farming tier 70 plus. Most important stats movement speed, crowd control duration, cooldown and bit of lucky hit chance. Mana related stats are not relevant, we can sustain constant Crackling generation by chain criticals with no mana investment. We'll show now skill tree, followed by Paragon and gameplay speed farming. The first 2 points are irrelevant. We need 2 points unlock core skills. We need 4 points to unlock defensive skills, hence 1 point in devastation for bit more mana, but still not relevant. We only need unlock destructive passive on chain lightning, for high crackling energy generation from critical hits. The build can be played with spark basic skill instead, but I find it that chain trigger more crackling. If want play spark, just swap points from chain and get the passive flickering spark for crackling generation on spark. In this version, I find value in Enhanced and Shimmering Flame Shield, to heal back any damage hits we get in between stuns. I really recommend if you speed farming to swap the teleport passive to mystical teleport for extra crackling hits. Is no need for extra DR in tier 70s with such huge amount of CC we have. You can swap in Bar Frost Nova with Ice Blades, if feel wanted. Ice Blades will still trigger a lot of times because of enchantment coupled with Oculus and legendary Paragon node. We get a blade every 33 seconds spent in cooldowns. Ice Blades for enchantment, for vulnerable apply and to reduce even more cooldowns, but also to contribute to Conjuration Mastery DPS buff. If you want even easier tier 100, especially on boss fights, you can add in Bar Hydra instead of Flame Shield, with her passive summoned Hydra that burning damage scales with monster level. All you need for Hydra to do high damage in tier 100 is that Hydra burning passive, 5 points in Hydra, plus optimize Paragon board to add legendary node Burning Instinct. For now, I want to stay away from Hydra in my builds because of that scaling damage. Plus, like said, this build is really great in speed farming tier 70 plus, and their Hydra loses value, as it only scales good damage on very high tiers. Is no point at Hydra if speed farming 70s. Unstable currents coupled with overflow energy and Ice Blades enchantment, plus crackling extra hits, will make it so that in group fights we get unstable currents almost permanent. Ice Blade's enchantment synergies very good with Oculus, very low cooldown on teleport, and overflow energy. I did took this version legendary Paragon node enchantment master to get a blade every 33 seconds spent in cooldown, but also to buff the next enchant Frost Nova to 36% chance. Ice Blades it does apply a lot vulnerable on his own, but also triggers second enchantment Frost Nova. You can also play this build with small adjustment towards my previous builds using Frozen Orb enchantment instead of Nova. But mandatory add Frozen Orbit aspect on gear. Frost Nova does trigger a lot because of Ice Blade's swarm and also Lightning Spear's swarm during unstable currents. Next I will show Paragon and gameplay speed farming. The Paragon has only 5 boards, because of high crackling energy investment and also to grab the Enchantment Master legendary node. Hence the requirements for important rare nodes are achievable without extra stats on gear if follow Paragon board order. Thank you all for watching and for support. This will be my last lightning skill tier 100 build in this season. I believe I covered all except the basic skills. Further on, I will continue the Diablo Season 1 journey trying to create a fire build non-hydra. But it will be at a lower pace, as one I am really waiting for Season 2 in Diablo, seems it will get better. Secondly, I am really interested also into playing in parallel with Diablo, the new game, Starfield, that released this Friday on 1st of September with early access. Stay tuned also for Starfield content after release. And do not worry, I will continue to play and create content for Diablo 2. I am looking forward to play and create content for all seasons in Diablo and also update Eternal builds when needed. Plus on long term I am waiting for Path of Exile to release. That seems will be a very good and complex game. But I do enjoy other type of games too, like Starfield new release. So in parallel when time allows me will create content on those games too. I will also start streaming on my Twitch channel from September on a schedule basis. If you would like see Diablo and Starfield streams can find me on Twitch at Blackheart86. Further on, after the Paragon board, will be gameplay with the speed runs tier 70+. In the description of video should be a D4 planner link, if is easier for you to check out the build so. Thank you again for watching and support.